Hey everybody. Okay, so today in this News of the Day video, we're going to talk about a bunch of things and we're going to actually waste no time and get just right into it. So News of the Day. So I get this question a lot. It's about KK, whether I think he's going to play in the playoffs, whether I think he's going to play with the Habs next year or in the AHL, or what's happening with his spleen injury, all those kind of things. So the only news I've seen about KK really is this that just came out. KK is in Pori, Finland. That's his hometown. And he is working with a trainer and a skating coach. Now, I say a skating coach. I don't know if it's speed skating or this kind of skating, whatever, but it's some kind of skating coach. And the trainer also, not sure of what kind of training he's doing, but at least he's working. So the spleen injury, he's obviously recovering from it so that he's able to work out and skate and stuff like that. And that's good news. Whether that means he's going to be able to be on the squad, the extra squad, or on the main roster for Montreal in the play-in, I don't know the answer to that, honestly. I kind of doubt it. I think with the spleen injury, I think he needs a little more time, but I could be wrong. And if there's any news that comes out, obviously it's going to be in the News of the Day video. But that's semi-recent, so at least we know he's skating and he's doing better. So now there's, speaking of those kind of things, there's no word yet on Max Domi about whether or not he'll be able to play. But I just saw something about, it's kind of a quote from Marc Bergevin about it. And because I get this question a lot as well, or I see a lot of people talking about, the Habs' chances to win and blah, 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 and they're going to do this without really confronting the fact that Max Domi can't play, or if they kind of know about it, they kind of are saying that it hasn't been announced yet, or he's going to play, they're going to do everything they can, but okay, we don't know. He said, if the medical staff can find a way for him to play safely, unless they can do that, he won't play. So now, how are they going to find a way for him to play safely? I don't see how yet, but I mean, I guess it's possible, but this is the reason why I'm of the mind that he's not playing. So I'm looking at their chances, thinking he's not there. If he does play, it's only a bonus, right? But I'm of the mind he won't play, and that's what Marc Bergevin has had to say about it. We'll address this in a sec. TVA Sports. So TVA is a local French station, and their sports division. They did a story in French. I got this off Twitter. If the Habs need to find another Jack Hughes for Cole Caufield to play with, they're kind of, I guess the meaning is, I guess, that is Cole Caufield good enough, or does he need a Jack Hughes to play with him? And should Montreal be looking for one? Now, they do get to the point at the end of the story, and it's in French, and I don't know if I got everything, but I think they're of the mind that no, they're not necessarily, because we do have Nick Suzuki, who can definitely distribute the puck, and it should be a good thing. So I think that's where, like, I don't see why we would need to go up and pick up a guy like Hughes when we have guys. We have guys that not necessarily in the lineup, but we do have guys coming up through the pipeline. We have Nick Suzuki. Hopefully KK will be here in a season or two. If not, when they start up again, but at least next season at some point or the season after, which, quite frankly, I don't expect Cole Caufield to be here before 21-22. 2021-22, that season. I don't. And next year, he said he's playing in college, so that means he's not here at all. And then maybe after that, or the season after that, I really don't expect him then. By that time, Montreal should have plenty of options to play with him, besides Nick Suzuki and KK. And those are two great options, I think. And we'll have the wingers on the other side. I think we've got a lot of good prospects that can be fit in there, and I don't think there's any reason to. And anybody thinking that Cole Caufield absolutely needs these things to play, what he needs is a guy that can pass him the puck. I think he does a good job of getting himself open. I think he needs to improve a little bit on his defensive play away from the puck, and his strength, because he's a small guy. He's going to need to be as strong as possible. The rest of it, I think he's been figuring that out for his whole playing career since he's a little kid. So, and he's been producing at every single level he plays at. I don't see why there's a reason that he won't find a way to produce decently or greatly in the NHL at that level. So, and I think Montreal, maybe 2-3 years ago, weren't set up for that. have a guy like that, but I think by the time Caufield joins the club, there'll be plenty of options for him, and he'll do well. I really do believe that. Next up is a story that I actually need to get something on the computer, so you probably won't notice it, but I'll be right back. All right, so this is a story given to me actually by a subscriber, Fedgehead. So if you guys have seen him in either the live streams or comments, Fedgehead. He's quickly turning into one of my favorite subscribers. Sorry but you do have favorites, or just people that you kind of deal with more often. And his daughter Laylee, who's going to be a goalie, I believe you're going to hear her one day. I really believe that. So he gave me this story. It's I don't know if it's on. I don't know where he posted it, but Don Cherry. It's from Don Cherry. So sorry if you guys are all still upset about Don Cherry or at him. I mean, that's fine. I definitely understand. Just that he still knows his hockey. He was a Bruins coach, so there's some merit to this. So I'll read you some of what he said about the possibility of Montreal facing Boston. Okay, so I won't read it all, but it's on my computer, which is smaller than my big one, and my eyes are. So let me get to the point where. So he's talking about that the clubs with the most points are favored to win the Stanley Cup when they start playing this summer. That's obvious. So the Bruins are favored 11-2 in the odds. But he says the team I wouldn't want to meet in the first round is Montreal because of one guy, Carey Price. Let's face it, Carey has been ordinary since he signed the big contract. On July 2nd, 2017, he signed an 8-year, $84 million extension. Now Carey can pay back Marc Bergevin for being so generous. In the short series, he can steal it for Montreal. If he gets the feel and on a roll, he could steal the cup. Remember Patrick Roy? The Canadiens got a gift getting into the playoffs, so this could be Price's last chance. He needs to put everything out of his brain and just get ready to play the game. If he gets into form, look out. So this is coming from Don Cherry, like I said. I don't disagree with that. And of any team, especially that I should worry about, Montreal is Boston for a couple of reasons. And mostly, Boston playing Montreal in the playoffs, not usually good for Boston. That's in general. Now, in the last few years, from what I understand, Boston has beaten Montreal the last 3 times we've played them. If that's the case, I heard that. I didn't look this up, but I heard that, and it stuck in my head. If that is the case, it kind of says to me, if Montreal plays Boston, Montreal's it's their time. They don't usually go that many series without beating Boston, whether they're the better team or not. That doesn't seem to actually play into the outcome, whether one team is better or not. And usually, even if Montreal is not the better team going into the series, they have won a few series against Boston this way. So, if I were Boston, I'd worry, especially if Montreal makes it to the, past Pittsburgh and Carey Price is playing well. Yeah. So, this I thought was interesting coming from Don Cherry. Anyway, so there you go. So now, from another subscriber, he's a subscriber to the channel and on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter, and that's D-Dado. You see names, you don't always hear how they pronounce them. So D-Dado on Twitter and from YouTube. So he asked me a couple of questions. I kind of paraphrased it. Like I broke it down into 3 questions just to, I guess, make it easier here. I don't know. But these are from him. How do you feel about the integrity of this COVID Cup? And a lot of people have called it that. And how the NHL is organizing it. So, and I'll read the second one because I think they go together. Is it just money? Or are there other reasons as well for the reasons why they're trying to get this done? And I just had an argument yesterday with my friend Pat out in BC. And I think going into it originally, yes, it was about money. And there's no doubt that it's about money. If anybody wants to say, well, no, it's not about money. And listen, if that's what Bettman has said, I mean, that's just disingenuous. Because if it's not about money, then why are they even a league? If they're not there to make money. So obviously, it's about money. They're taking a huge loss, whether they get these playoffs in or not. So yeah, they want to recoup some of their money. Does that necessarily mean that they're doing it at all costs and taking chances with player safety? I personally don't believe that's true. I know a lot of people do. They think it's just money, and they don't care about the players. And it does. Look, if they didn't care about the players, it's just dumb because if players get sick, if some of them die, I mean, you need these guys going forward. They are your bread and butter. So I don't believe that. I think that they do care about player safety while still needing to get this playoff done for money. But there's also a couple of other things, and this I get from the hockey guy, and I think he makes a lot of sense on that. And I've seen it elsewhere too, that, you know, there's talk about how this might be the norm of them starting their season late and playing through the summer, and that might be the norm because that's there's less competition from other major leagues. You don't have football, and you don't have you only have to deal with the last little bit, which are a lot less game than the Super Bowl, and they can work around that. And you don't have to deal with the baseball playoffs, division series, and all that, and the World Series. And this could be the norm. So, what does it mean? How does it affect? They might. This is like an experiment. First of all, an experiment. Can they play without fans in the stands? Is there any interest by fans to watch it? Are they able to do it without people getting sick? And so forth. And what kind of response are they going to get from fans going like starting next season, pushing it back and starting in January, and seeing how that goes? And this could be the norm. This could be where they want to go and how they want to proceed. So there's more to it than that. Does it affect their integrity of these playoffs? I don't think so. I actually think it's going to be, and now the next question, will this be an easier or more difficult playoff to win? And I think depending on who wins, if one of the qualifying round teams end up winning the playoffs, so making the playoffs by winning the qualifying round, and then winning in the playoffs. That means they've had to play more than maybe a few extra games, definitely an extra series where it's a little more intense, whereas the teams that have the byes, yeah, they'll be playing a mini round robin, but I don't know about the intensity if it's as much as the guys playing the qualifying round. So you've got that. I think just in general, the fact that instead of kind of knowing where you might be playing next if you win, you don't at this point because of the reseeding and the different matchups, and the fact that if it's a team that is like Montreal, if Montreal happens to win, they're going to have the hardest road to the playoffs because they're always going to be playing the number one team that's left in the round, right? So the best team seeding-wise, the worst team is always going to play that, right? So those teams, if they win, it's going to be more difficult. So they say about an asterisk, maybe because have the asterisk because that was a harder playoff in Stanley Cup to win. So yeah, I think the integrity is there. They're doing everything they can for player safety. Nothing is set. They're going by phases. If everything goes well in the phases, then they go on. I think it's about as good as you can make it. And I'm of the opinion that it's necessary. They need to do this. Yes, they need the money. Yes, but it's not all about money. They need to see if they can do it. They need to see a lot of different things, and they need to not lose their standing in the eyes of the fans out there for what teams are relevant, what sports are relevant. NHL, if they don't play, they could drop out of the relevancy. You lose fans. You lose that big contract coming up, TV contract. It's very important. So there's a lot there. As long as they do everything they can for player safety and move at a slow pace and don't rush anything, then I think the integrity is there. And yeah, I think the difficulty for the teams to win, it's not easier than any other year. This is harder. So now this brings me to something. It's called subscriber questions and stories. I want to do a weekly video series answering your questions or talking about any stories you might send me. So you can send me these through Twitter. My Twitter is just go on Twitter @TalkingHabs. Follow me. Then you can DM me, and I accept, and we'll do it that way. Or my email is in the description, so you can send me by email any kind of questions or stories, and I will compile these things, and I will do a weekly video that's all about your questions, your stories, like stories you find out there. I'll give you my opinion. So stuff like that. So please send them in. Send them in by the piles, and I will do some videos. And obviously, whoever sends them in, you'll get the shout out for the idea for the question, for whatever. And some of these stories and stuff may end up being videos that I do because they're good things that I might have missed. So it all works together. So that's a new thing. So it's called Subscriber Questions and Stories. Send them to my email that's in the description, or follow me on Twitter at Talking Habs. And that's it for the video. If you like to give a thumbs up while you're doing that, leave any comments in the comment section about any of these stories, about my opinions on them, about your opinions on them, whatever you want in the comment section. I'd appreciate that. And while you're down there doing that, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, ring that notifications bell. That's going to get you your daily fix of Blue, Blanc, Rouge. That is right here at Talking Habs. So thanks everybody for watching. Please stay safe out there. Stay safe from the virus. Wear a mask when you go out. There's a lot of people out there now. And do all those things. Wash your hands. And stay safe from the protests. Yes, I encourage the protests. And even if you go, but just stay safe. And, yeah. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt out there. It's enough seeing that. But protests got to go on. We got to change things. So there you go. That's my video. Appreciate that you watched. And peace out. See you next video. And if I could find the off button.